Good morning, afternoon, or whatever time of day it is. Zoop here with another episode of Battlefield and Brewskies, and obviously I don't really have a British accent. If I did, I'd probably have several thousand subs by now. And if only I were female. Funny story, I actually had a British accent once. I was an army brat and lived in the UK when I was 7. I developed an accent over the course of 3 years. When I came back stateside, kids thought I had a speech problem. What I would give to have that accent still. Today I was going to talk about making the jump to PC, but I'm going to table that for another week. Instead I want to talk a little bit about weapons balance after the Dragon's Teeth DLC and my thoughts on that. I'm going to start a 3-part beer review today, basically a face-off between Russian River's Pliny the Elder and the Alchemist's Heady Topper. Heady Topper is rated the best beer in the world on Beer Advocate, and Pliny is not far behind at number 4. After both are reviewed, I'll do a face-off between the two. Unless you've been under a rock the last month, you've probably noticed the kill feeds are dominated by the Bulldog in Battlefield 4. I've rarely used it. I tried, but there's something about it I don't like. I paid attention to the gripes about it though, and plenty are throwing around the good old term overpowered when referring to it. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I personally can't comment on it though. What I will say is that when a weapon is used so much that it accounts for over half the kill feed, there may be some validity to the complaints. I can, however, comment on the Desert Eagle. I've used it fairly extensively, though mostly in a controlled environment devoid of rifles. On a whim, I decided to unlock it. I took the easy route, and played a pistols-only server on Locker. This is a luxury I didn't have when I played on the Xbox One. I played in a 2,000 ticket server and spent the first quarter of the game getting dominated trying to unlock it. The Unica really does suck, but I got the 20 headshots fairly quick. And then I unlocked it, the Desert Eagle, or Deagle as it's called in-game, most likely to avoid copyright infringement. At that point, it was game on. Someone on the opposing team summed it up very well. He said there are those with the Deagle, and then there is everyone else. And that's how the round went for me with this magnificent piece of power. I never used the term overpowered. Even when people complained about the AWS from Naval Strike, or the M16 in Battlefield 3, I shied away. In my opinion, each weapon takes time to learn. As I mentioned, I don't like the Bulldog and have not taken the time to learn it. To me, an overpowered weapon is one that anyone can pick up and use to great effect immediately. I could not do that with the Bulldog. I enjoy the Pecheneg far more than the AWS, and the iron sights of the M16 always bugged me in Battlefield 3, getting in the way of the aim point sight. However, the Deagle is a different animal altogether. I'll be the first to admit, I am no pistol expert. It took me close to 250 hours to unlock every pistol on the Xbox One, and when I finally did, that very week they released the free pistol shortcut to add insult to injury. I would have never used it, but it was ironic. I'm just not that good with pistols and hardly use them, probably to my detriment. So powerful is the Deagle that the first round I played with it in its entirety, I had 112 kills. In fact, I had the most kills in the room. Again, I am not a pistol expert. At all. If little old me can do this with a Deagle on my first attempt, there must be something up, right? It takes anywhere between 1 to 3 hits to kill with the Deagle. It can kill at long range and has a massively large clip with 9 rounds. Its damage is the same as the 44 Magnum, but of course it smokes the Magnum, and most other pistols, in every category. In my opinion, the Deagle may be a bit more powerful than it needs to be. The saving grace in the issue of balance in normal servers is that Deagle is a pistol. No pistol can compete with it in a pistol-only server, but fortunately, in regular servers it's not as big an issue. The Deagle reminds me of the Desert Eagle in the original Counter-Strike. I remember sniping people across the map with it. I don't think people were too fond of it in Counter-Strike back then, and I know many aren't fans of it in Battlefield 4 right now. I have a feeling both the Deagle and Bulldog are headed towards Nerf City. In my opinion, the Deagle needs some serious recoil added. The thing is a hand cannon. It should handle accordingly. It handles more now like the Deagles in the movie The Matrix do. I always laugh watching the agents fire them, only for them to have no perceptible recoil. Speaking of the Matrix, maybe that's what the rubber banding really is, a glitch in the Matrix. I would advise avoiding pistol-only servers if you've not unlocked the Deagle yet, or don't plan to unlock it. Like I said, there's no way to compete with it. It is the alpha and the omega of handguns. Up until Naval Strike, the newly added weapons were balanced fairly well. Naval Strike slowly started to drift away. There were a fair amount of complaints regarding the AWS. Again, I didn't have an issue with it though. The SR2 was an above average PDW I felt. Not by a lot, but I like to call it the mini AEK. In Dragon's Teeth though, it seems like the weapons have almost become novelty items, purposely made to stand out amongst the rest. One can only imagine what we will see in Last Stand. I still shy away from saying anything is OP, or the laughable term God Gun. Of course, none of these novelty weapons are surprising though. In the light of the issues, I feel there's an overarching feel at DICE to appease us in some way to pay penance for the previous issues with the game. But really, Battlefield 4 is focused more on making the game accessible to newcomers. The element of skill has been removed from gunplay completely. In addition to the guns, too many weapons are easy mode fire and forget. MBT Law and staff shells are a prime example. I miss the gunplay in Battlefield 3. I also miss the lack of fire and forget weapons. Honestly, I don't think Battlefield 4 has a balance issue, and every gun has a counter. I think the bottom line is Battlefield now has a skill issue. Most elements of skill in gunplay are gone. It feels more like a Battlefield Call of Duty hybrid now, where the fastest running in a straight line is most likely to get the kill. Forget about moving tactically, and forget about PTFO. It's just the current state of the game, or part of the community. If you disagree with me, let me know. I'd be interested in what you think on balance and the state of things. Let's not end on a down note, though. Here's a beer review to cheer things up. Today I'm giving you part 1 of my 3-week face-off between two heavyweights in the beer world. Russian River Pliny the Elder versus the Alchemist Heavy Topper. Today's review will be on Pliny the Elder, ranked number 4 on Beer Advocate. You really can only get this beer in California and a few select other places. Philly gets some in, but it's gone the instant it hits the shelves. It sells for a premium, up to $9.99 a pint, but honestly, this IPA is worth it. Even if you don't like IPAs, you will like this one. From Russian River's own description, Pliny the Elder is brewed with Amarillo, Centennial, CTZ, and Simcoe hops. It's well balanced with malt, hops, and alcohol, slightly bitter with a fresh hop aroma of floral, citrus, and pine. Best enjoyed fresh, that's why we make it in such limited supply. Actual bottling date is printed on each bottle. So, my take. Pliny the Elder pours a nice rich copper color. This 8% ABV beer is very bitter. For those of you who shy away from IPAs, bitter is better. My pour had a nice 2-finger head. Immediately, you can smell the hops. Wonderful, earthy, piney hops. It smells like you're walking through a pine forest with a note of citrus flavors. The taste and mouthfeel was simply divine. It's like a symphony orchestra. It comes in as a wave with the sip, starting off low and subtle, then reaching a full crescendo before subsiding. I've never experienced a taste like it. It is truly a beer to be savored. I was lucky enough to have a friend in California mail me 3 bottles of this fine beer. I was worried this beer would not live up to the hype, but it lived up to all of my expectations. This was the best IPA I've ever had up to this point. The hype around this beer is completely warranted. If I ever went to California, it would be for the sole purpose to visit this brewery. Overall scores for Pliny the Elder. Appearance 4.75, smell 4.75, taste 5, mouthful 5, overall 4.75 for a total score of 4.89 out of 5. As of right now, this is my highest rated beer. Next week, I'll give you my thoughts on the Alchemist's Heady Topper, number 1 in the world according to Beer Advocate. Is it better than Pliny the Elder? Stay tuned to find out next Wednesday. That wraps up another episode of Battlefield and Brewskies. As always, please like this, share it with your friends, and subscribe. Have a great week.